Hey everybody, Beets, Beds, and Browns here. We're going to be getting some winter seed starts, and we're looking at planting dill, radish, 5-color silver beet, chard, chives, spinach, and kale. And actually we might dip into the seed, and instead of radish, since we have nowhere to put them, we're going to do cilantro. So we've got our starter kits and our trays, and this will allow us to water from the top and let the water drip through. We did a test bed of greens last week, and we did not soak the seeds this time. So we soaked the seeds for the greens. None of these seeds we're going to install now are soaking, just a test. Again, they're going to be watered the same way in the same setup. So let's begin. We've got our seed dirt. Again, this is from miscellaneous projects that go bad. We end up just collecting the dirt in here. It's a mix of organic garden mix and all the other project dirt, including pit moss as a starter that we've done. So we're going to do that. We've broken up all the clumps in here, so this gives us a nice starter. We'll try and level this out so that we can add just enough to top the seeds that we put in, and we'll break up any clumps that we see along the way very quick and dirty, so to speak. So this is green peas kale from Seed Saver Exchange. We've had great luck with this. We got a bunch of this in our freezer from last season. I'm going to put a couple seeds in each one, literally 2. Oop, 4, well. And again, this is winter sowing, so we're going to test germination rate indoors under the LED lights for a bunch of stuff because of anticipation, ants in the pants, as I like to call it. We love having stuff growing, and when it's not, we don't enjoy the hobby as much because there's a lot of stuff that can be done in the off season, and we'll just smooth that out. And we'll water this all at the end. Again, break up any clumps. Those can tend to block the growth, and then we'll pull out any organic material from weeds, prior year plants, etc. This will get us back on the track of growing our own food during the winter, just moving everything inside. Label for that. Here's the next one. If you're new to Beets, Beds, and Browns, make sure to go to our website, beetsbedsbrowns.com. Get your free seed kit. It'll come in a packet just like this, a little manila envelope. You can choose from dill, acorn, squash, or carrot while the supply lasts, so make sure you get that in quickly. We interview emerging artists from the regional hip hop scene. Right now we're in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland area, but probably going to be expanding that. Just there's so many talented artists that we want to interview. And then also distillers of fine spirits. Today we're going to be sampling some Jameson Black Barrel Irish Whiskey, Chard for a rich, smooth taste. All whiskey barrels are charred. So, two of the three things we love, gardening and whiskey. Wow, that's really smooth. Slight smoky touch on the back end. The notes of sweetness and caramel on the front end, as is expected from a Jameson, an Irish whiskey. And this is coriander seed or cilantro seed. So we're going to put a couple of these in each one. And again, I'm looking for things that can do well inside under the grow lights. We'll share the setup that we've got. We've got another tray under there already. And there's no reason we can't be growing year-round as long as we're not expecting to transplant anything into the ground, which is why we didn't go with the turnips or the radishes, which would have required transplant in 30 to 45 days. Just pushing them down under the ground line here. As you can see, there's very little rhyme or reason to how we do it. Others may differ. Say there's a particular way, we just put a couple in, assuming that not everybody's going to make it, right? And I'm making a mess because I'm moving fast. So we'll want to fill all those up and cover. And then a lesson we had to learn the hard way is label. This was one from the prior planting. So we've got cilantro and green peas kale currently. And we're going to keep it going. We've got American spinach. Again, this is from Seed Saver Exchange. Not all of these seeds are new. Some of them are a year old. This one goes back to 2015. The dill, again, that you can get for free, beetsbedsandbrowns.com, beetsbedsbrowns.com, and register for your free seed kit. You can buy seeds and check out our YouTube channel. We have a number of videos over 2 seasons incorporating elected officials talking about urban gardening, manufacturers of growing substrate. We've got soil scientists. We've got some regenerative farmers. And that's Beets, Beds, Browns on YouTube as well. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. We're going to be sharing our journey as we look to migrate further and further towards homesteading. Right now we're landlocked in an HOA, so we don't have the luxury of getting animals, but down the road we definitely wish to do that. So I'll do the dill next. I happen to have a bunch that I spilled here earlier, so I'll sprinkle a little bit of these, actually a lot of these, but either that or it just ends up in the dirt bucket because I just scrape all this leftover in his shove. But winter seed sowing, again, things that don't need to be transplanted in ground, things that can be harvested from the trays that we grow them in. And this is just seed starts for the winter growing season, again using indoor. We have red-green LEDs. Dill is great in dips, on fish, chopped up and served on fish. But even more importantly, it helps with pest eradication in your garden, and it attracts not only bees, which pollinate the garden, but also the main feeding source for yellow swallowtails. If you're interested in generating butterfly traffic in your garden. But let you know you're doing a good job as you build out the environment. So, yeah. Little rhyme or reason. We have had some interesting pest problems this year. Squash bugs, spider mites for the first time, and then cabbage worms always with our brassica, with our cabbage, our broccoli, our kale. We run into issues with the white moth that comes in and digs into all of our leafy greens. We've had zero success with our broccoli and cauliflower in years past. It's one of those constant battles as you're spraying and then it rains, so you have to spray again. And again, this isn't our full-time job by any stretch of the imagination. This is just something we do to get outside a little bit more frequently and grow more food that we know isn't overly processed, doesn't have a ton of chemicals. And that's something that's important to us for a number of reasons. But all right, so we got dill, green peas, kale, and cilantro. Let's go with some spinach. Again, typically before starting seeds, we would soak these in little cups, a little bit of water overnight. But we're pressed for time, so we're just going to get these growing and under the lights as quickly as possible. I'm putting 2 seeds to a cell. If this was spring and I was looking for more certainty, I would probably do a couple more. And there's no rhyme or reason to that either. We don't know what the germination rate's going to be. But end up with extra top off grand application. So, as well as the elected officials and garden interests, I mentioned performers. So we've got emerging hip-hop artists in the Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana region. And we're proud of the slate that we've been able to put together in 2 years. J Love Raps, Constant Burt's, Vivid Scientific, Ethan Draco the Pharaoh, and then AM Early Morning. We've got Jujilla, Queenie LaRouge, Polar Bear Triple. Unbelievably talented artists, and we're fortunate that they're messing with us as we get off the ground here. I may have mentioned in years past we don't take the time to label, and for me that's okay, but one of the joys of gardening is giving the garden tour. Ask anybody who walks by our place or visits our house, you're going to get the tour. And if they can't see, sometimes it doesn't stick with them. Again, we're going to try and turn as many people on to gardening as we can. So the more information for the outside observer, the more consumable it is for them as we walk our 2 raised beds. We grow in 2 15 by 20 foot raised beds. They're 3 feet off the ground, and then we have security around them in terms of elevation so that deer can't get to them. Unfortunately, we still see rabbit, squirrel, bird activity. But again, we're creating an environment that fosters insect, bird, and other wildlife. So that's to be expected anytime you're gardening. We go chemical free, so we're really not interested in pristine fruit and vegetables as much as that's what we want, but not at the sacrifice of the environment. So next we're going to put in some chives, and chives require a little bit of processing to be useful, but we can always chop and dry or chop and fresh cut into any recipes. Again, great with dips. eggs in the morning. It's a very tiny pencil dot seed here. This is from Baker Creek. We've got a combination of Burpee, Baker Creek, Seed Saver Exchange. We don't ascribe to one versus the other. It's really just a case of, like a kid on Christmas. When I get those seed catalogs, I'm digging through them, and if one has something that I haven't seen before, I'll give it a shot. If one has more natives, I'll try and buy plugs, which is the seeded, rooted plant. And I'll even buy seeds or save seeds. So we've got seed saving projects behind here. These are cataloged and entered into our storage. We've got another storage bin. We've got a bunch of seeds, pumpkin, corn, anise hyssop, acorn squash, okra, some sunflower, and watermelon that we've saved from the produce that we've grown. And that's really rewarding to be able to have that year over year come from your garden, no additional expense, and know that that can carry on in forever. That can carry on in perpetuity. You can have that in your garden without additional cost forever. So, again, why do we do what we do? Well, we love gardening, hip hop, and bourbon, if I haven't stated it. Whiskeys of all kinds, scotch. But most importantly, food costs are going up. Political instability is ever present. We want to be able to grow our own and eat our own. So that's why we do what we do. And I'm not an expert on any of the topics, the beets, the beds, or the browns, but I'm hungry to learn more, and every year we continue that education while offsetting grocery costs, while learning canning, while learning seed storage and cold storage over winter. Last year we ate spaghetti squash and acorn squash until spring. This year we've got I'd say 30-gallon bags of greens in our freezer that we can pull out and add to soups, add to chili, add to stew. Have greens as a side, turnip greens, kale greens. So again, the more that we're capable of growing, the better we get at starting these things inside during the winter. The more production we'll get out of our raised beds. And that's the game, is always trying to grow more with different space, less space, the same space, grow different things, crop rotations, companion planting. These are all things we've learned and that we'll be documenting in upcoming episodes and blog content. We've got some recipes at beetsbedsbrowns.com. Caught a couple fresh shows lately, going downtown at the Promontory. It's a new wave, new magazine launch about hip hop in the Chicago area. They just put on a great show. Cassius Tay, Jujilla and Nut G, number of artists that were new to me that I'm digging into now. And again, maybe those will be people we interview in subsequent seasons. We're always looking and listening as we look to have more people join the community, right? And fans of hip hop, fans of whiskeys and bourbons, people who want to learn more, people who know how to grow, people who want to share their knowledge. We're creating a community here around that, and we encourage you. This is the Swiss Chard, 5-color silver beet, great performer, lasts all season long. We can get these started growing strong indoors, and then hardy them up before we drop them into the outdoor garden for next spring. Typically here in Chicagoland, Indiana, we're Zone 5B for the most part, unless we're right up on the lake, and we're not. So anything we grow now, we'll have to keep keeps growing and healthy to be able to transplant in May, mid-May at the earliest. We've done plants, put plants into the ground sooner than that, but it just requires a lot of concern over weather and whatnot. Typically, the freezing is done outside after May. That Mother's Day weekend is the big planting weekend, always historically in this area. We may stretch that a little sooner, but nothing says we can't be pulling produce out of the garden before that. See, real fancy here for my labels. I am snapping popsicle sticks in half. For the first year, I bought starter kits and trays. Let's see what the tray looks like here in a second. But you don't need anything new for this hobby. A couple dollars in seed pack is really it, because everything else you can pick. People throw away pots. We've got hundreds of pots that we'll incorporate into our native plant starts, as well as you can use gallon jugs like the one I'm pouring into the watering can here. With the handle you cut out in front, you create a little greenhouse. We're going to be doing that project as well. There's just so much that you can do that doesn't cost a lot. And as far as relaxing hobbies go, as far as things that I enjoy, this is it. You see the litany of bottles, you see the strainers so that we can save seeds. You see the Beets, Beds, and Browns sticker. You get that when you send away and register for your seed kit. We've got seed kits again. Carrot, acorn squash, dill, they're all organic, heirloom varieties stored or saved from our garden. And we want to be able to share our passion with the world. So please visit our website, get your free seed kit, subscribe on YouTube, TikTok, follow us on Facebook, check out our Instagram. We're constantly sharing about these things, events, opportunities, education, and join us along the way. We're going to close out here with just a gentle watering. As I said, typically we would soak these seeds overnight. We chose not to do that from just a haste. We want to be able to get these things started. I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to do this. I had time to set it up and record today. And we will be tracking the success of these starts over the course of the next couple weeks on YouTube Shorts, beetsbedsbrowns.com. Look forward to seeing you.